Deep within the emerald canopy of the Amazon jungle, life thrived in ways the outside world could hardly imagine. Towering trees stretched so high that even the sunlight struggled to pierce through, and rivers curved like serpents around hidden villages. Among these hidden sanctuaries lived the Kairu tribe, a people untouched by modern civilization. They lived simply close to the earth, their survival depending on the hunt, the harvest, and the wisdom of their ancestors. Yet within the Kairu tribe, there was one man who towered above the rest, not in stature but in spirit. His name was Peter. Peter was not born into the jungle. His parents had once fled from the outside world decades earlier, seeking refuge deep within the wilderness. Raised among the Kairu, Peter grew to embody their strength, courage, and honor. His shoulders bore scars from battles with jaguars. His chest carried tattoos of victories earned in tribal duels, and his eyes burned with the spirit of a leader. Though his blood was not fully theirs, the tribe revered him as their chief, because he was the bravest among them. One humid dawn, as the mist curled low over the jungle floor, strange sounds echoed through the valley, distant, mechanical, unnatural. The elders gathered near the fire, troubled. To the Kairu, the jungle sang with voices, birds, insects, rivers. But these new sounds were alien, filled with menace. Peter, sharpening his spear beneath the giant ceiba tree, was the first to recognize the danger. He had once heard stories whispered by traders along the river, of men in uniforms, carrying weapons of fire, who carved their will into any land they desired. By midday, the sky above the jungle trembled with the roar of helicopters. Their blades shredded the silence. Children cried as flocks of birds scattered in fear. The ground shook as boots hit the soil. Rows of soldiers in camouflage, rifles in hand, advancing like an iron tide. The American army had arrived. They came with orders to seize the jungle, to flush out what their intelligence reports claimed were insurgent forces hiding among the tribes. To them, the Kairu were nothing more than obstacles in their mission. The Kairu warriors, armed only with spears, bows, and ancient courage, gathered under Peter's command. He stood tall, face painted with red clay, body adorned with feathers, voice strong as he spoke to his people. "This is our home. The jungle is our mother. No invader will take her from us. Today we fight not for ourselves, but for the spirit of every ancestor who walked these lands." The tribe roared in agreement, their chants rising like thunder through the trees. The battle began when the soldiers opened fire. Gunfire cracked, shredding the foliage, cutting through huts of straw and wood. The Kairu fought fiercely, ambushing from the shadows, striking with arrows dipped in poison, moving as silently as jaguars. But bravery alone could not stop bullets. One by one, warriors fell. Mothers shielded children. The jungle, usually alive with song, screamed with chaos. Peter fought at the front, his spear finding its mark, his strength unmatched. He brought down enemies with sheer ferocity, his body moving like the wind. But for every soldier that fell, more kept coming. By sunset, smoke rose from the ruins of the Kairu village. Bodies lay scattered. Fires consumed what was once home, and in the ashes of the tribe, only Peter remained alive. Peter's chest heaved as he stumbled through the wreckage. Blood soaked his arms, not all of it his own. Around him, the silence of death pressed in. His people were gone, his tribe slaughtered. He collapsed beside the body of an elder, whispering a vow to the spirits. "By the fire of my ancestors I will bring justice. I will not let their blood fade into the soil." The jungle will remember. The jungle will answer. That night, Peter buried the dead with his own hands. Under the moonlight, he lit torches for their souls, sending prayers into the dark canopy. His grief burned into something sharper, vengeance. He was alone, but he was not powerless. The jungle itself was his ally. In the days that followed, the American soldiers set up a base deep in the jungle, confident in their victory. They laughed around fires, believing the resistance was over. But Peter was watching. From the shadows, he studied their movements. He noted the guard shifts, the weapons placements, the blind spots of their camp. Every fallen leaf, every animal call became a signal to him. He melted into the forest, unseen, unheard. His body became a weapon. His grief became steel. The first soldier disappeared without a sound. A vine trap strangled him in the darkness, his body never found. The second was dragged beneath the river, an arrow piercing his throat before the water swallowed him whole. Fear crept into the camp. Whispers spread of a ghost in the jungle, a spirit of vengeance. Peter had become the jungle's wrath. Word of the killings reached Colonel Harris, the American commander. Hardened by years of war, Harris dismissed the deaths as accidents until he saw the bodies himself. He called a meeting in the command tent, his voice harsh. "We're not fighting savages. We're fighting a man who knows this jungle better than we ever will. He's not just a survivor, he's a soldier. Hunt him down before he hunts us all." But deep down, Harris felt something he hadn't in years: unease. Peter was no ordinary tribal chief. He was a force of nature. The days turned into nights, and one by one soldiers fell. Peter struck with precision, never wasting an arrow, never revealing himself. He used the jungle like an extension of his body. Poison frogs, venomous snakes, collapsing trees all became weapons in his hands. The soldiers grew restless. Sleep abandoned them. Every shadow looked like death. Peter left warnings carved into trees. "You killed my family. Now the jungle will kill you." The Americans tried everything: drones, patrols, fire. But the jungle swallowed their technology. Machines failed. Men disappeared. Harris watched his army shrink, not from battles but from terror. At last, only a fraction of the unit remained. Harris, furious and desperate, set a trap of his own. He burned acres of forest, forcing Peter into the open. And Peter came. From the smoke he emerged, his body painted in war colors, his eyes burning with vengeance. Spears in hand, bow slung across his back. He stood like a spirit risen from the ashes. The battle that followed was not of guns versus spears, but of will versus fear. Peter moved like lightning, taking down men faster than bullets could fly. Harris, wielding his rifle, fought savagely, but Peter's rage was unstoppable. At the climax, the two men faced each other in the clearing. Harris raised his weapon. Peter raised his spear. A heartbeat of silence, then a roar. When the smoke cleared, Harris lay lifeless on the ground, Peter's spear through his chest. Peter stood alone once more, surrounded by the carnage. The army was gone, broken not by numbers, but by the wrath of one man and the jungle that empowered him. But victory brought no joy. His people were still gone. His village still ashes. He walked back into the forest, whispering to the spirits, "Justice is done, but the wound remains." From that day on, stories spread among soldiers and locals alike of a jungle ghost, a warrior chief who could not be killed, a man named Peter who carried the soul of his tribe. Some called him a legend, others a nightmare, but Peter was neither. He was simply the last chief of the jungle, carrying the memory of his people so the world would never forget them.